another cigarette and I pour the wine. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and it's starting to get light. You light up another cigarette and I pour the wine. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and it's starting to get light.
I will never compromise. MC, what time is it? I've lost my fucking memory. Bling master getting faster. No diggity's who I am. That's why I paid the money. Going mental and get the jam. I got the classy swag. Now that's why I get flagged. More like a taxi cab. Where are the chicks to check? Down on the floor.
Cigarette and I pour the wine. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and it's starting to get light. You light up another cigarette and I pour the wine. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and it's starting to get light.
What day is it? I've lost my fucking memory. Bling master, mic enforcer, bass junkie's what I am. I rock you on the dance floor, feel the noise, we got the jam. I got that classy swag. Now that's why I get flagged. More like a taxi cab. Where are the chicks to check? Down on the floor.
You light up another cigarette and I pour the wine. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and it's starting to get light. You light up another cigarette and I pour the wine. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and it's starting to get light. cigarette and I pour the wine. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and it's starting to get light. You light up another cigarette and I pour the wine. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and it's starting to get light.
Skibba-dee, G-jize, I will never compromise. MC, what time is it? I've lost my fucking memory. Bling master, getting faster. No diggity's who I am. That's why I paid the money. Going mental and get the jam. I got that classy swag. Now that's why I get flagged. More like a taxi cab.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us at PPR Esports tonight. We are in Abu Dhabi for the final round of our Division 3 championship. We're headed to the Yas Marina circuit, 21 corners, 55 laps in its full format. Tonight, we're probably going to be running about 23. Take a quick look at the standings. I want to take a moment to congratulate Deluxe Cord on his Drivers' Championship win for the season, taking a whopping 9 race wins over the course of our 21 races. Jaylee Bones in second with a 61-point gap there. Redeemer in third with 182 points. Alabama Outlaw in fourth with 152. Cheesy Train in fourth with... Outlaw in fourth, Cheesy Train in fifth, Orange Crush in sixth, SF1776 in seventh, PPR Grandpa, who unfortunately could not be with us tonight, in eighth, Jules in ninth, and Batman rounding out your top 10. Have a few reserve drivers here tonight. Not sure where our game audio is. There we go. As we load in and wait for our drivers to pull out to the track, get our tire data timings out, as we have Best Taeyeon NA joining us, as well as Vexing Track, George 1997, and X Webster 3 are our reserve drivers for the night. As it looks like the second place, Jaylee Bones, is going to be the first out of the pits. Here we see the two Williams of Alabama Outlaw and PPR Ollies coming out now through the very difficult pit exit there. Known for catching a few drivers asleep at the wheel in real life. As we will hop on board with Alabama Outlaw, see if any of this stuff works. Ooh, as that is way off. As Big Mr. Brown has been disqualified from the session for parking on the pit exit. That is not an ideal situation, as I have to do a little more tweaking with this overlay in the future, as the TV pod's a little bit off center. No car audio. Let's see if we could fix that real quick for you guys. Alright, that should be back now as Outlaw starts his first flyer of the day. Working our way through turns 2 and 3 right now. Very fast left-right. Now working our way through the slowest turn on the track, turn 7. Charging past the grandstands now onto the back straight into DRS zone 1. As Big Mr. Brown's controller died as he exited the pits, so that's unfortunately why he has been disqualified from this session. Yeah, hate to see it. And appreciate the feedback on the overlay. It has been a pain in the ass to get running right, but hoping for Season 4 to bring you guys a lot of stream improvements, and this is one of them, although I'm not a fan of the font used for the speed display there. But anyways, Alabama Outlaw continuing now through the 3rd sector. We're going to wait around the final corner, I believe, turn 21, and across the line with a 135.7. Alabama Outlaw in provisional pole for now. PPR Ollie's right behind him with a 136.6. Oh wow, look at that. It actually works. As Randoms working his way towards the crossing the line as well with a 137.5. A whole lot of work to still be done there for Team Red Bull, as we have Caspita taking a very creative line through Sector 2, as well as Taeyon. Alright, he's going to be known as Best from here on out, because I just don't know how to say that. As Funky Cactus now works his way around turn 21. He's going to cross the line with a invalidated lap, unfortunately, so he's going to give it another try. In Sector 2, which you wouldn't expect to see. Looks like it was just a racing point pulling out of the way for the rest of our drivers. As we have J. Lee Bowens finally pulling to the track, we're now on board with the Henchman 21. Working his way out from the hotel section. Past the pit entry around the final corner, and Henchman 21 is going to cross the line with a 137 flat, puts him into 6th place for now. Just a little over 12 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. As looks like Webster's gotten a little bit lost after the back straightaway, as George is battling with the Toro Rosso in front of him. Looks like it might be brackish. Excuse me, too many blue liveries. Henchman? Nope. As we see George now finally able to work his way around the much slower Toro Rosso. Unfortunately, the standing overlay there on the halo is not telling me drivers' names, only car makes. It's not ideal, but we're working with it. As Caspit is now working his way to the back end of Orange Crush, I believe. As Orange Crush now starts his first hot lap, Caspita puts in a 135.8. Hop on board now with Orange Crush, see if he could shake that pressure off as he kisses 310 kilometers an hour before heavy on the brakes. As As, no thank you, Grandpa, I will not be doing speed on this stream. As Crush opens DRS down the back straight, charging all the way up to 330 kilometers per hour. Appreciate the feedback, brother, as we now have Orange Crush approaching the junior start-finish line. Heavy on the brakes, using all of the curbs on entry before this little fast left-right left of turns 11, 12, and 13. Now working our way through Sector 3. Vexing Track puts in a new fastest lap of the day with a 1:35.5, takes the position away from Deluxe Cord. As Crush rounds the last bend, he's going to cross the line with a 1:38 flat. A little bit of work to do still for him. As Jaylee Bones also charging towards the line, looking much quicker, crosses it with a 1:36.3, puts him into 5th place on medium tires. Pretty respectable time from the Mercedes driver. As most of our drivers are now in the pits, we have a few of our drivers just putting in laps for practice at the moment, which I don't blame them for. The Yas Marina circuit is one of the most technical and just hard to learn circuits. Every single turn is vastly different, the way you have to enter it and negotiate it. We see Casper dealing with a little bit of oversteer on exit there. Just 8 minutes remaining in qualifying. And if you're interested in joining the league, please feel free to hop over to our Discord and fill out the Season 4 sign-up sheet. Put in your time trial times and we'll get you sorted in a fitting division for your skill. As Casper's now working his way around the hotel. Presumably going to be on an in-lap at this point. Alabama Outlaw has some fresh, soft tires fitted to his Williams. Working his way through turn 7 now as Casper crosses the line with a 1:35.5, puts him into P2. Gunslinger from down south engages DRS for the second time this lap. Now working our way towards turn 11, heavy on the brakes all the way down to second gear. As he's going to back out of this lap, Deluxe Cord will go fastest with a 1:34.7. Well done from the Banana Boat driver there as Randoms is working his way down the back straight. Closes DRS heavy on the brakes. Trying to do everything he can to put Red Bull a little further up on the grid for the start of this Grand Prix. Random so far looking very composed this lap, just a few corners left. Work his way up to the rear end of Casper the V12, who is on his in-lap. As Randoms crosses the line with a 1:36.5, puts him into P7, well within the points range. Still over 5 minutes left in quali, so plenty of time to get back out on track. as the one and only PPR Ollies is coming back into the pits. Redeemer still yet to put in a time today, starting his charge through Sector 3 now. Working his way through the fishbowl looking hotel. Charging down the English-made tarmac. Had this asphalt imported from the UK, as Redeemer puts in a 135.8. Puts him into P5. Great time from Team Alpha. We'll see if his reserve teammate can do the same, as he's going to be pulling into the pits for some fresh tires. Still waiting on White Meat and Brackish to leave the pits. Enjoying a nice hookah in the company of Grid Girls, I'm sure, as Random's going to be on an in-lap. Funky Cactus driving for Team Haas, worked his way into Sector 3 now, coming out of turn 14. Funky Cactus looks to be abandoning this lap. J. Lee Bones, however. DRS mode 4 now charging down the back straight into DRS zone 1, engages it there. Just gonna test something quickly. Yeah, that's not ideal. Alright. Now working our way past the club pit exit. Heavy on the brakes for turn 11. Already half a second up off his previous best. Looking to put him into at least P5. Oh, as he struggles to hold on to the rear end there. Does well to regain control. Unfortunately, I think that may have compromised his time just a bit, as he was really struggling to put the power down now. Drifting a bit. Uses all of the run out there very well. Throws it in for the second to last corner. And J. Lee Bones is going to cross the line with a 135.9. Puts him up into P6. Just 2 minutes left in quali. Not sure if he's going to have enough time left to take another go at it, as it looks like Alabama Outlaw was having a little bit of trouble there. Orange Crush retires from the session. Alabama Outlaw taking the GT line there, as we finally have White Meat putting in his first hot lap of the day. This stream is brought to you in part by beer. Beer is great. As White Meat engages DRS, we have our slower drivers trying to stay out of the way. White Meat charges down the back straight all the way up to 332. Seems to be the fastest any of our drivers can reach, even with the help of DRS. Maybe during the race, with the help of a little bit of a tow from somebody in front, we'll see some higher speeds. Just 2 corners left. White Meat so far looking very quick. As he crosses the line in 10th place with a 136.5, Alabama Outlaw will retire from the session. Vexing Track still trying to improve on his 3rd place time. Working his way towards the start-finish line on unfortunately not going to have what it takes this lap. As we'll hop on board now, the Mercedes of J. Lee Bowens worked his way out of turn 4. As qualifying time lapses here in the United Arab Emirates, Deluxe Cord 77 remains in first. On board here with J. Lee Bowens, seeing if he has what it takes to improve. Very nice line on entry to 11. And Spencer, these graphics are not from Codemasters. They're courtesy of a very awesome software developer that I'll have to look up his name to give him proper credit next stream. But you could find his work over on racedepartment.com as Funky Cactus retires from the session. J. Lee Bowens is going to charge towards the line and cross it with a 135.7, enough to put him into P5 for the start of this Grand Prix. Redeemer has the sound bug as he glitches through the wounded carcass of Funky Cactus. Unfortunately, looks to have lost it coming out of the hotel section. As that should do it for qualifying here in Abu Dhabi. We have our Drivers' Champion, Deluxe Cord, starting first, continuing to present a dominating showing over the rest of the field. Have Alabama Outlaw almost a full second off Deluxe Cord's pace in second, followed by Vexing Track, Caspita, and J. Lee Bowens rounding out your top 5. Expect these guys to be battling all day long. And you can never forget about the midfield and back markers either, as Brackish must be serving a qualifying ban or something of the sort, as he never set a time today. Big Mr. Brown, unfortunately, his controller died as he was exiting the pits. He couldn't move and was disqualified from the session as a result. If you would like this overlay for yourself, you could look up Gary Swallow on Race Department. Just Google Race Department Sim Hub F1 Halo overlay. Also comes with a few other overlays in the pack. It's really cool graphics. Add a lot to anybody looking to commentate or even just have a little bit more information about your car. Shout out to Henchman21. Best of luck, brother. Hope you have a good start. Keep it clean into turn 1. This track is one of the most difficult, in my opinion, to stay clean and in control at, as we're finally ready to take to the field for the formation lap. As Deluxe Cord will lead the field around one more time. Just moments away from being lights out here at PPR Division 3. And yeah, we got a lot of new drivers here tonight. Really looking forward to see what they can do as we have... Oh, man. I thought Alabama Outlaw was Kimi Räikköning it there down the back straight, just refusing to wiggle. Curious to see what big Mr. Brown can do. Didn't get to unfortunately even see him in quali. Also keep your eyes on Brackish, looking to be making moves early on lap 1. Hopefully he's able to keep all of his front wing intact. As these guys look absolutely ready to go. Oh, a little bit of a slowdown there as White Meat pulls off track to avoid the rest of the drivers. As the marshals are waving green flags on the side of the track, that's definitely not the case, as we're still under formation lap conditions. Drivers pull to their starting grid spots. Deluxe Cord P1, Alabama Outlaw P2. It's going to be a run to turn 1. Just moments away from finding out who's going to come out on top. As eyes are on the lights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're out and we're racing with PPR Division 3. Deluxe Cord has a great run. Unfortunately, Caspita got swallowed up early on. First 3 drivers make it around turn 1 without issue. Caspita still struggling to maintain pace. Deluxe Cord already half a second in front of the rest of the field. Our midfield really starting to battle. Father Corn taking out a bit of a bollard there. Caspita gets into the rear end of George. Now working our way into turn 7 now. Funky Cactus looks to be lagging just a little bit. Orange Crush and Best going wheel to wheel, approaching the final the back straight chicane. J. Bowens and Redeemer here battling for 4th place now. George's also trying to join the battle. Redeemer holds his line well into turn 11. Does well to hold off the relentless attack of J. Lee Bowens. X Webster passes Father Corn for P12. Tofu White Meat, unfortunately. Ooh, as Caspita has lost it and spun into the grass. He's going to be all the way down in last place. Deluxe Cord continues to lead, almost a second interval between him and Alabama Outlaw. George and J. Lee Bones continuing to battle. Oh, as J. Lee Bones has lost it and he's out of the race. Just like that, a little bit of oversteer coming over the crest of turn 2. And J. Lee Bones' front end is gone and he's out. In that drama, PPR Ollies was passed by Webster, who continues to charge towards the front of the pack and into the points. Brackish slowly gaining on Best. Staying well within the draft. Trying to establish passing position to the inside, and he does. Bit of time separating our top 5 already. As our interval board is extremely slow updating, and not as we have Webster and Funky Cactus battling into 11. And it looks like Funky Cactus has come out on top. Cody's, please. There we finally have an update as looks like Father Corn is catching up to PPR Ollies very quickly. Working our way past the point where Jay Lee Bowens lost it last lap, and now George 1997 has lost it just 100 meters further down the track. Two drivers out of the race from what I could tell under their own accord in under 2 laps, as Vexing Track sends it up the inside of Alabama Outlaw for P2. Does very well to make that pass stick and doesn't wind up on his roof like Hulk. See if Alabama Outlaw can do anything to fire back. Approaching turn 11, looks to the outside. Vex does well to cover the inside line. Alabama tries to fire back but cannot make it stick. We also have Henchman throwing an over-under on Father Corn into turn 14. Runs him very wide. Two Toro Rossos holding each other up a bit now. His Orange Crush almost gets into his teammate there. We work our way onto the 4th lap. Orange Crush trying to establish passing position on his teammate. Ultimately cannot. All this battling has allowed ARL Brackish to close the gap. Just down to 0.2 of a second. Redeemer picks up a 3-second time penalty for trying to find a creative way around Alabama Outlaw. As we see Henchman pick up a 3-second time penalty, Brackish gets into the back end of Crush. We'll hop on board now with Redeemer flying down the back straight. Looking to make a move to the inside of Alabama Outlaw for P3. As the Disconnect King is ghosting all over the place. Alabama Outlaw will retain P3 for the moment. X-Webster looks to establish passing position to the outside of the Alpha. Redeemer rubber banding in his usual form as Webster works his way up into P4 into turn 12. Alabama Outlaw picks up a 3-second time penalty for ignoring the curbs there. Ollie's slowly gaining to the rear diffuser of randoms. Take a quick look at Brackish trying to finally make a move stick on Henchman, who's just passed by his teammate Orange Crush. Alabama Outlaw comes into the pits. Funky Cactus sends it up the inside of Brackish. The rest of our drivers on softs will come in for their first pit change. Random still slowly gaining to the rear end of Redeemer. And with the help of DRS, Random is gaining quickly now to the Alpha. Redeemer defends to the inside. Both very even on the brakes. Little bit of something there as Cody's blessed us, and we continue on. Randoms looks back to the outside of Redeemer. as Randoms works his way up into P4 without too much of an issue. Jaylee Bones has left the session as Redeemer continues to rubber band about. Funky Cactus now has his sights set upon the Ferrari of Casper to V12. Ollie's passes Redeemer as well. Redeemer must be in a little bit of trouble now, as Whitemeat is as well trying to find a way around the struggling Alpha. Vexing Track pulling into the pits now. Take a quick look at what tires everybody's on. Pretty even mix there between softs and mediums at this point. Check back in a few on that as Whitemeat almost loses it in a similar fashion to Jaylee Bowens. We see Redeemer absolutely hooning it through the infield, shredding the floor off his car, but since this is F1 2019, there ain't none of that here. So he'll continue on his way. Vexing Track pulls back out onto the circuit with some fresh medium Pirellis. Brackish unfortunately has fallen to last place. I did not see what unfortunate circumstance befell him, but in other news, Deluxe Court has pulled a 7-second gap over the rest of our field. As your board PPR, Ollie's has a run at third place, looking to the inside going into turn 11. Little bit of a lockup there from the Williams driver. As Random gives him plenty of room, Ollie's is up into P3 as Orange Crush picks up a 3-second time penalty. As well as Brackish. Randoms is going to try to gain that spot back, but we're going to take a quick look at Orange Crush 192 trying to find his way around Father Corn. Bit of a Ferrari sandwich here as Orange Crush tries to keep pace. We have Redeemer and Random pulling into the pits for some fresh Pirellis as well. So we have a caution in sector 1 and 2. Looks like Webster might have gotten into a little bit of trouble there as Ollie's is up into P2. And Webster's under attack by the Renault of Whitemeat. Whitemeat well within the slipstream of the Racing Point. Looks to the inside, approaching turn 8. As with the help of DRS, Whitemeat should be able to make that pass stick without too much of an issue. Orange Crush passes Father Corn, gets a little bit lost in the process, and rejoins the track in 7th position. We also have Alabama Outlaw battling with Best, going through the same corner, forces Best a little bit wide there, but works his way up into P10. As Webster fires back at Whitemeat, he'll pick up P3 once more and back into podium contention. Alabama Outlaw and Best are continuing to go wheel to wheel. Best presumably not too happy about that move. Orange Crush will pick up P6 as Father Corn comes into the pits. Deluxe Court now with a 15-second gap over the rest of the field. Even after winning the Drivers' Championship, showing that he is not satisfied with just a first place. He's got to make that 10 wins if he can. On board now with Henchman 21 chasing down Random. as Redeemer rejoins the track with some fresh mediums. He's going to be battling with Father Korn going into turn 8. Bari looks to the outside, then dips back to the inside. A little bit later on the brakes, then Redeemer still wheel to wheel going around 9. Tries to make the over-under stick. Redeemer's going to have the inside line going into turn 11. Father Korn still right behind, trying to make something happen. Brackish in the background, poised, ready to strike. As Caspita has lost it once more in Sector 3. We go back on board with Father Korn now battling against Brackish as Redeemer's worked his way past. Excuse me, rather. Father Korn still trying to pass Redeemer. As Deluxe Cord now finally pulling into the pits, Funky Cactus joins this 4-car melee for P12. Whoa! What the? Cody's, you good, bro? And speaking of good, Big Mr. Brown is certainly not good, as he's lost it in the same spot that we saw J. Lee Bowens and George lose it. Fortunately, he does not retire, and he's going to pull back out onto the track just ahead of LDR Redeemer and Father Korn, who's looking to the inside of the Alpha, as Brackish has left the session, presumably having a bit of connection issues. We now have 5 cars battling for P10 and points contention as Deluxe Cord passes White Meat for P3 into turn 11. The help of DRS, I'm sure. Oh, as we're going 3 wide coming around turn 8. Big Mr. Brown's going to come out on top. Father Korn's still battling with Funky Cactus. Great bit of driving there as all 3 drivers are still have all 4 wheels attached to their car. Funky Cactus sends it up the inside of Father Korn, cannot make it stick. Redeemer now pulling away just a little bit ahead of these drivers as Big Mr. Brown sends it up the inside of Father Korn. Doesn't have what it takes to make it stick, and unfortunately it comes together in a big way. Father Korn steals the position away as Webster's lost it again in the same space as George. Oh, almost gets into Orange Crush as he pulls back out on track. He was really in a bad spot to begin with. He really didn't have a choice there over a blind hill as he picks up a 5-second penalty for obviously gaining a ton of time in that corner cut as Deluxe Cord's working his way up to the first place PPR Ollies. Deluxe Cord putting the power down, engaging DRS. Ollie's holding a middle line. Deluxe Cord looking to the inside. As Deluxe Cord is back up into P1. Take a look at our back markers once more as Funky Cactus is battling with Caspita for P12. Webster pulls into the pits to repair that damage as Random's going to work his way up into 7th. Alabama Outlaw has his sights set solely on Orange Crush, and he loses it in the same spot as well. What is, like... what? That's such a weird part of the track to have an issue. Unless just none of our drivers today are running downforce. Anyways, Random's now is working his way past Alabama Outlaw for 6th place. Makes it stick without any difficulties, as we saw Alabama struggling there a bit. Big Mr. Brown picks up a 3-second time penalty for cutting corners. Alabama Outlaw now trying to regain his composure. Gunslinger from the south picks up a 3-second time penalty. Not sure what's going on there, but he seems to be struggling a bit as Webster sends it up the inside of Best for P14. Vexing Track slowly catching up to the pace of the 3rd place Renault of Tofu White Meat. Toft of White Meat, excuse me. Vexing Track now right behind White Meat. It's well within DRS range as we work our way into DRS Zone 1. White Meat really unable to do anything there as Vexing Track will work his way up into P3. Shout out to PPR Ollies, man, up 10 spots. MVP. I mean, yeah, he's yet to pit, but so what? He's still the MVP. As we get a look at everybody's tire data there. Orange Crush and Big Mr. Brown, the latest to pit. As Casper works his way into P7, Redeemer falls to P8. Redeemer with a bit of a Scandinavian flick there on entry to turn 11. Channeling his inner Colin McRae as we work our way into Sector 3. Ollies and White Meat both now finally pitting for the first time today, the last of our drivers yet to do so. That will make it at least one pit stop for everyone so far. Alabama Outlaw working his way up to the Toro Rosso of Orange Crush. Trying to find his way back into P11. Get back into the points range for the final race of Division 3 at PPR. Orange Crush seems to be struggling just a little bit in front of the Gunslinger from down south. See if the turn 3 snake comes out to bite either of these drivers. Thankfully it does not. White Meat trying to set something up on Redeemer. Looks to the inside and with the help of DRS should be able to get it done. Now has his sights set on the Williams of Ollies, and he's coming in very hot. Ollies has great vision there, gets out of the way, holds P6 and keeps his Williams in one piece from the torpedoing Renault of White Meat there. And Redeemer throws his hat back into the mix with the help of DRS and gains P6 into turn 11. White Meat stays in P8 for now. Very wisely, if you ask me. Henchman picks up a 3-second time penalty. See him just in the edge of the frame there, ahead of Redeemer. As Ollies defends to the inside, White Meat looking to the outside, then swings back to the inside. Very indecisive about where he wants to pass at this point. as Funky Cactus pulls into the pits for some fresh tires. Alabama Outlaw closing quickly to the Toro Rosso of Orange Crush 192. White Meat now putting the move on Ollie for P7. Gets it done coming out of turn 7 as the gunslinger from down south picks up another time penalty. With the help of DRS, he should be able to work his way around Orange Crush for P10 as Redeemer passes Henchman for... Ooh! Henchman didn't like that, gave Redeemer a little bit of a shunt in P9 there. Spun him right around as Ollie's and White Meat work their way up into P5 and 6. Henchman still wheel to wheel with Ollie's entering turn 11. Ollie's much later on the brakes. Picks up P6 from the Toro Rosso, as well as a 5-second penalty as Cody's chill out, yo. Holy shit. Redeemer with the torpedoes loaded almost sends it into the rear end of Henchman. Father Corn has a great view of all of this, so we're going to go on board with him. As we have Henchman pulling into the pits, Redeemer and Father Corn are going to work their way around. Ollie is now driving with one eye on the track and one eye in the mirror, trying to do everything he can to pull away from the Alfa and Ferrari, closing quickly at this point. Sick camera angle. It's a nice tire. It's a really nice tire. Oh, it's the DRS. Yeah, wow. Sick. As Redeemer passes Ollie's for P7, Father Corn's looking to do the same. Working his way up the inside, approaching turn 11. Trying to make a 2-for-1 happen, though. Unfortunately, not going to be able to make it stick as Redeemer will hold P6. Big Mr. Brown passes Henchman 21 for P13. Deluxe Cord still with a 15-second gap over the rest of the field. But at the moment, the midfield is where the battle's at. Just less than half a second separating these three drivers. Redeemer leading the field, or the pack rather, as Father Corn picks up a 3-second time penalty somehow. As track limits here in Abu Dhabi seem to be extremely strict. Hopefully none of these drivers have any weed in their pocket or they'll go to jail for like 80 years. Ollie's engages DRS in zone 1. Working our way down the fastest section of the track. Father Corn looking to the outside. Ollie's really... Oh man! He totally missed that turn by a mile. Lets both drivers by. Hopefully... Oh man. As Ollie's is shook. As he was having a great run so far today, but unfortunately couldn't get those hard tires up to temperature. Locked the hell out of him going into turn 8 there, and almost assassinated Redeemer and Father Corn at the same time. Who we will hop back on board with just to make sure they both seem to be okay, not dealing with too much understeer there. As Randoms pulls into the pits. Father Corn and Redeemer will continue to battle. Uh-oh, it looks like Father Corn is dealing with a little bit of understeer there. Misses the final apex by a mile and a half. Deluxe allowed Alabama Outlaw to work right to the rear diffuser of this Ferrari. Williams about to put the moves on Scuderia. Let's see how this goes down. As after all of that, Ollie's has sadly fallen all the way back to P11. Oh, shit. As Randoms passes Orange Crush for P9, Deluxe Cord picks up a 3-second time penalty. Alabama Outlaw works his way around Redeemer and Father Corn for P5. Vex picks up a 3-second time penalty as Deluxe, as well as Vex, pull into the pits. Webster picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. Oh, this Redeemer's in a lot of trouble now. Father Corn looks to put the over-under coming through the hotel section. Father Corn with nowhere to go forces Redeemer very wide. Going wheel to wheel coming around the second to last corner. Now working our way through turn 21. Redeemer pulls into the pits to give those medium Pirellis a little bit of much-earned relief. The Toro Red Bull of randoms trying to now put the moves on Father Corn for P5. Father Corn defends to the inside, approaching turn 5. Randoms trying to set something up, coming out of turn 7, almost gets into the rear end of Father Corn there, but does very well to avoid the Ferrari. Redeemer is going to be exiting the pits in 13th position, wheel to wheel with his teammate. Best yields, but then almost punts Redeemer going into 5. Does very well to avoid his teammate. All that battling, though, has allowed Big Mr. Brown to establish passing position around the outside of Best for P13. As those drivers almost came together in a big way. Orange Crush now pressuring Father Corn, who's Orange Crush completely ignoring track limits, just going wherever the hell he wants. Father Corn trying to chase down the Red Bull of randoms. We also have a battle for second place between Vexing Tracks, but we're going to stay on board the currently very confused Orange Crush. Seems to be having some trouble with depth perception as Vexing Trek goes around the outside of White Meat. White Meat not giving up, but unfortunately relegated down to P3. Father Corn pulling into the pits now, as well as Orange Crush picks up a 5-second time penalty for speeding on entry to the pit lane. As our drivers have all the penalties today. Funky Cactus is within half a... Whoa. Bruh, that's like... Alright, Funky Cactus just got 3 Alright, make that 5 penalty points. Dude, what are you doing? What an idiot. Bruh, you can't do that. He's getting out... Oh, man. So yeah, you cannot retire on track. Causes huge issues for our other drivers, as Big Mr. Brown is one of those drivers having some huge issues at the moment. Gets his tangerine machine turned the right way around and eventually gets going the right way. Ollie's picks up a 3-second time penalty, as well as the gunslinger from down south. Brackish pulls out of the pits as we have a caution in sector 1. As Henchman picks up a 3-second time penalty there for cutting track limits. Have Deluxe Cord and White Meat pulling into the pits. Bruh. see where they pull back out on track. Should be as Deluxe Cord has opted for medium tires to take him through to the end of this race. White Meat has opted for softs. As Casper V12 now closing quickly to the Red Bull of randoms for P3, looking to the inside, approaching turn 8. Big Mr. Brown picks up another penalty as Casper works his way up into P3. Deluxe Cord looking to the outside of randoms going into P11, turn 11. As the Gunslinger picks up another 3-second time penalty. Deluxe Cord now looking to put the moves on Casper for P3. Casper running on 2-lap old mediums compared to Deluxe Cord's brand new mediums. Ollie's on 7-lap olds hards and White Meat on fresh softs. Casper with the fastest lap of the race so far today. Just 7 laps to go to the end of this Grand Prix. Ooh, his Redeemer has lost it coming around turn 13, it looks like. Big Mr. Brown trying to make the move on Best. Best defense to the inside. Big Mr. Brown looks to the outside. Big Mr. Brown can't get it done as of yet. Father Corn and Ollie's now battling going into turn 1 on lap 23. Father Corn trying desperately to establish passing position. Henchman 21 pulls it into the pits once more. Father Corn engages DRS. Ollie's defends to the inside frantically, but at this point there's not much that the Williams driver can do. And Orange Crush comes out of nowhere. Sends it up the middle of these two drivers and works his way into P8 in brilliant fashion. Oh, Father Corn almost loses it there. Goes wheel to wheel with Orange Crush going into 14. Stay on board with Ollie's, who has a great view of this battle. As we work our way through the turn of death, Randoms passes Alabama Outlaw for P4. Alabama Outlaw fires back, engages DRS in zone 2. Working our way past the club start finish line, trying to go up the inside, cannot make it happen yet. Orange Crush goes way too deep, coming out of 8. It's going to allow Father Corn to work his way up into 8 as Ollie's now sets his sights on Orange Crush. Redeemer joins the battle once more. As we see Vexing pulling into the pits very late in the game. Ollie's gets a very bad run coming out of 14. That allows Redeemer to work his way around the outside up into the points. And with the help of DRS, we see White Meat work his way into P5. So far today, a very strong showing from the reserve driver, Webster. Hop on board now with Orange Crush once more, trying to find his way around Father Corn for P8. Just 3 laps to go till the end of this Division 3 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Presented as always by your friends at Pole Position Racing. Be sure to tune in this Tuesday at 7:30 for our Division 2 race, as well as 9 p.m. Eastern for the Division 1 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Orange Crush is going to pick up another 3-second time penalty. We have a phantom caution in sector 1 and 2 for no particular reason. As Orange Crush unfortunately loses 2 positions there to Redeemer and Father Corn. Alabama Outlaw will pick up another 3-second time penalty. Father Corn now desperately trying to find his way around Redeemer for P8. Redeemer defends to the inside. Late move to the outside. Father Corn forces it up the inside of 11. Still wheel to wheel with Redeemer going through 12. As Vex puts in the fastest lap of the race with 1:37.9. Redeemer trying now desperately to hold back the relentless attack of the Ferrari of Father Corn. Yeah, Money, SimHub works with like F1, Euro Truck Simulator, Assetto Corsa, pretty much everything. As Henchman works his way past Ollie's for P11. We'll stay on board the battle between Father Corn and Redeemer for P8. Actually, we're going to take a quick look at Webster working his way up the inside of Vexing. Gunslinger from down south picks up a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. I think this is the most amount of penalties I've ever seen in a PPR race. Webster defends to the inside, approaching turn 1. Vexing tries to establish passing position on the outside. It's the brakes way too late and gets involved with Webster still trying to regain control of his racing point. As Vexing illegally gains 5th position. Alabama Outlaw, the collector of penalties with another 3 seconds. Now on the final lap, we see Orange Crush drifting around turn 7, trying to make something stick on Father Corn. Father Corn not worried in the slightest, with his sights set solely on Redeemer for P8. Caspita picks up a 3-second time penalty, trying to get within striking distance of Deluxe Cord. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen, as Deluxe Cord is your Abu Dhabi Grand Prix winner for Division 3. We're going to stay on board, though. This battle between Father Corn and Redeemer is really heating up on the last battle. Orange Crush picks up a 3-second time penalty, trying to keep up with these two. Random finishes P3, Tofu, White Meat, P4, Vexing Track, P5. Have a caution in Sector 3. It looks like Webster's lost it right before the end. That allows Vexing Track to work his way into P5. And unfortunately, Father Corn at this point is a little bit too far off Redeemer's pace. It's all going to come down to penalties at this point. As Redeemer crosses the line, he's going to lose that position to Father Corn. He's going to finish P7, Outlaw P9. After all of those penalties, Orange Crush P10, Henchman P11. Excuse me, Ollie's P11, Henchman P12 after a addition of a few penalties, as we're now just waiting on the Alfa Romeo of Best to cross the line. I'd like to thank all of our viewers for joining us today. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you're not already. You can check out our Twitter over at PPR Esports. And of course, you can join the league over at discord.me/PPR. Season 4 is fast approaching, as Best Taeyon will round the final corner and cross the line to finish out the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, presented as always by your friends at Pole Position Racing. Going to go ahead here and get the post-race interviews set up. Let's see if anyone will join me. As Father Corn says, wow, that race was full of emotions. That it certainly was. As things between him and Redeemer are heating up in the chat already. And Funky Cactus says all the time, you must leave the space. I gotta agree with Funky Cactus there. And Ollie says, sorry for going too deep at the end of the straight. I'm a pleb and missed my breaking point. Happens to the best of us. As Alabama Outlaw had 29 seconds of penalties. He's the real MVP of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. As it looks like I'm going to be hanging out in the interview room all alone. That should do it for the Division 3 race. Again, please be sure to join us same time, same place, for the Division 2 and 1 races this Tuesday at 7:30 and 9 p.m. Eastern. And on behalf of all of us here at PPR, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you at the same track this Tuesday. Have a great night, everybody.